He suddenly felt watched, not in a paranoid neighbor watching through the curtains way, but by something, above, outside, beyond. Dark Margins presents Zoom Out by Ian Hand. The bug thudded against the roof of his white gazebo for the 12th time. It zzed away, circled clumsily, and slammed back into the plastic sheeting. The exit, a yawning gap no more than a foot below and to the left, remained unvisited. Invisible, perhaps. Charlie sipped his lukewarm cider, watching the insect's futile navigation of the interior. He got the feeling the small creature might try and try again, but wasn't going to succeed in getting out anytime soon. "You just need to zoom out," he muttered. "Pull back. Look at the bigger picture." He didn't expect a response, of course. It was just a bug, small-brained, panic-driven. But the thought lingered. Then he thought about people, about himself. All those years working the same job, running the same route, chasing the same tail, arguing on screens, doom-scrolling until his thumbs went numb, banging his head against the ceiling of his own perception. Maybe humans were just better-dressed bugs. Cleverer in some ways, maybe, but no less blind to the exits. Overhead, clouds gathered in sluggish summer knots. It was the kind of heat that felt personal, like the world was sweating with him. A leaf blower buzzed nearby. Somewhere further across the neighborhood, a child cried and a dog barked. Everything was slightly too loud. He rested the book he'd been reading in his lap, The History of Ideas by an overly clever chap called Grigson, who seemed to grasp all things cerebral. But even that, just now, felt small. He tried to remember the last time he'd really looked up at the stars, or down at the grass. There was always something to do, always a distraction, a bill to pay, a car to mend, the house to clean, a new game to play or a new film to watch. Charlie leaned back in his deck chair, closed his eyes, and softly drifted into a half-sleep. In the dream, if it was a dream, he suddenly felt watched. Not in a paranoid, neighbor watching through the curtains way. Watched in the way the bug was watched. Something above, outside, beyond. A presence. Patient. Vast. Gentle, even. Curious, like a parent observing a newborn. And then another feeling, almost like a voice, not in his ears, but in the deep, echoing quiet of his mind. Why do they not see? The question came not with scorn, but with wonder. They look, but they do not perceive. Charlie opened his eyes. The bug was gone, vanished, flown free at last, or crushed by its own frustration. He stood up, a little dizzy. The book slipped to the ground. He looked at the sky and felt small, and, despite his masters in mathematics, the slightest bit stupid. He tried to replay what he'd felt, but like most dreams, the edges were already smudging. Just a trace of awe remained, and a peculiar sense of being cared for, watched over, not judged, just pitied. He continued to stand, gazing upwards. No flash of light, no UFO, no peeling back of dimensional curtains. Just a quiet knowing that something out there was watching us bash our heads against the roof of our gazebo, and wondering when, if ever, we'd learn to zoom out and move down and to the left.